So next week we're going to be starting a whole new series of messages called Do Justice and Love Mercy. And it's taken from Micah 6 verse 8, where God makes it crystal clear what he expects from his people. The prophet says this, he says, "He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and love mercy and to walk humbly with your God." You know, God wasn't making a suggestion there. It wasn't like an action track or Bible study you could choose. This is what he requires from his people, to do justice and love mercy. Jesus also made that clear when he denounced the Pharisees, because he said they were neglecting justice and the love of God. You know, God's really been impressing this upon me in recent weeks, that this is something that should characterize his church, our church, because it's a reflection of who God is. He's a God of justice and a God of mercy. All through the scriptures we see that God cares deeply for the poor and the needy, for the weak and the oppressed, for the cause of the orphan and the widow. The prophets made it clear that to neglect the poor was to break covenants with God, whereas care for the poor was evidence of true heart commitment to God. They said when the Messiah comes, his ministry would be characterized by mercy to the poor, which is exactly what we see in the life and ministry of Jesus, who said he'd come to proclaim good news to the poor and to set the oppressed free. And through his interactions with people, he left his followers in no doubt that caring for the needs of others is the sign of a true Christian. It's evidence of a true faith. As James wrote, it's pure and genuine religion in the sight of God, which is why there's much we can be encouraged about, because there are now many ways in which this is being expressed through our church body. And so in this series, I want to tell some of those stories, locally and globally, and not so we can just pat ourselves on the back and say, aren't we doing well, but to spur us on to more love and good works. I want this series to challenge us, not out of any sense of guilt, but by understanding the grace of God towards us, how our own experience of God's mercy and justice should cause us to walk humbly before him and be the motivating factor in showing grace towards others, whether deserving or undeserving. So I hope that you will engage with us in this series of messages. And as it says in the first chapter of James, may it lead us not just in hearing the word and then forgetting all about it, but putting it into action, living it out so that we might be blessed. Do justice and love mercy. It starts next week.